for example. If we have the characters walking into this kill box, and they execute their death states, so let's knock down here. You two. There you go. You can see the similarity there. It just doesn't really look that good. The female does have two different death states. There's the variation 1 and the death state, but you can see the arms are in the exact same angle, the bodies are at the same angle. It's not really working for us, and the males are no different. So let's look at how we would go about implementing offsets on the different body parts per character to create more variety. To make this a bit easier, I'm just going to focus on one character for now. So let's go into the crowd simulation tree and let's use the emit node here. And as far as the actor ID goes, let us only bring in one actor. So we're bringing in right now actor ID 0 or 1. Let's get rid of the men here. Safer. Okay, so what we want to do here is we want to access the animation definitions. So if we look into the animation blending tree, we're going to want to access the animation definition compound. And if we dive into it, the place where we want to edit the poses is on the actual animation state that we've defined using the pose modifier input. We don't want to deal with the females here. We want to deal with the male characters. So let's go find them. Where's the male? There we go. Okay, so there's the male death states. Male death state, let's double click on it. References the death. And death state variation 1 references death variation 1. I'm stumbling over my words there. To do this, we're going to use CrowdFX's constraints menu, and we're going to use the crowd transform offset constraint. So this constraint allows you to go in, intercept any of the proxy deformers on the rig, and adjust its angle, or even reanimate it for that matter. We're going to keep this very simple for now. So to do this, I'm going to need to know the name of the deformers on this particular character. So to do that, I'm going to use CrowdFX and inspect the actor proxies, find the Eric model, and view his rig. And what I want to do is offset a couple of things. I want to offset his COG, his center of geometry. Let's just figure that out. That's his pelvis bone. There it is. It's his COG. So I'm just going to copy that and paste it in. Oh, I can't paste it in. Get data node and paste it into the get data node. There we go. I'm also going to grab his model name, his proxy model name. Copy and paste the get data node and just chain the two of them together. Copy, paste. And let's get rid of the reference to this COG. So now we've got our proxy model's name, which we can daisy chain with the name of the deformer we want to intercept, and that will satisfy the proxy deformer name that we want to use. So that lights up. Now what we want to do if we double click on this is we want to work with the rotations. We want to offset one of the bone rotations. So I'm going to make sure that the rotations are activated. And then we need to do something to the rotation input. And for that, we're going to use some basic math nodes. We'll use an axis and angle to rotation. In this case, we'll take the z-axis. Pipe that in. And use a randomized value by range to drive the angle per actor. Let's drive that there, and for now I'll just give it a high value. So let's say negative 50 to 50. So the hips can rotate up to 50 degrees. Let's actually go negative 90 and 90 just to make it even more. And one of the other nice things about this is we can determine when to blend in those offsets. And to do that, we're going to pull in an animation state loop. Let's see, there we go. Get animation state loop. And to do that, we're going to have to know the name of the action we wish to alter. So if I'm altering this male death state, I'm going to be looking at altering the death state. Exactly that. So in the state loop, let's go and utilize the death state. And I can plug the loop value directly into the blend, but that's not really going to do much for me. What I want to do is drive it with a function curve. Which then, if I click on the curve, allows me to delay in time when that offset occurs. And that's going to use to drive the blend. So you get something like that, around 40%. Okay, so the hips won't start blending in until 40% of the way through the death animation. That's really all there is to it. We can test it out to make sure it works. Let's copy and paste that, and let's use it on male death variation 1 as well. Let's wait for the copy paste to take hold. There we go. And let's make sure once again that we are referencing the death variation 1 in this case. Yes, this is death variation 1. So we'll execute that into the pose modifier input. We'll do the same thing here as well for the male character. It's always important to make sure that the state that you're working with matches up with the state that you're altering. With the randomized value by range, negative 90 to 90. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to pin that so we can play around with it. I'm also going to pin this one as well. Just change some of the values. And let's see what we have. I'll hit play. And we'll tackle the characters. All go down. And you can see that the body is rotating after the fact now. They're at different angles. And of course, I can change that. So this would be the wrong angle for the COG. He's on his front or he's on his back. I'm going to want to change that rotation a little bit. And the same thing goes for this guy. So let's just go back into the ice tree. Now let's go and change up those angles. So I take that one off. Let's put the Y. There we go. That's looking a bit more random now. And again, all we need to do here is start to play around with different random values and different seeds to get different looks to our randomness. And of course, we don't necessarily have to stop there either. We could go and start to work with different body parts and combine them together. So what was the character? Oops, come back here. So as the characters die, you can see that partway through their animation, they spin around. And now we've got characters lying in all different directions. I'll do one more change to this. I'll go and change the arms up and kind of connect a bunch of these together. So I've already got a branch for this transform constraint built. I'll just copy and paste it. And I'm going to want to connect them together via an execute node. So there's my new branch. Actually, I'll paste one more time for this other action as well. Here we go. Let's bring this one down. Let's grab an execute node. And in this case, what I'm going to want to do is access the character's right arm. So if I look at the model and I view the rig, I just want to access his bicep. We'll access the bicep bone. And on the other character, we'll access the other one. So here we're going to access the right bicep bone. and the COG. Let's get another execute node to pull those two together. And then modify the pose. So now we're modifying two proxy deformers inside of our rig. And let's use the left bicep bone here. Alright, so once again, all we really need to do is just randomize up the seeds a little bit so we get a bit more variety. And that should do it. Let's. Oh, and actually, the only thing we would likely also need when we're dealing with the bicep bones to determine which axis we're going to use. So I'll pick that one, and off of the left bicep bone on the other side, I'll also grab the axis and angle to rotation. Close down my proxy rigs. And let's try using the Z-axis of the arm bones. Okay, let's do this one more time. The character's dying. If I start to adjust the axis, you can see how we can randomize that there. They're all doing slightly different actions. And in this case, it might be more useful to deal with the x-axis. So either way, you can kind of see how it works there. Just able to vary things up even more. Let's take one last look at our tree. And everything's looking good. We've got a lot of stuff going on in there. So that's an overview of dealing with transform offset constraints. Hopefully you can use them to make more varied crowds, new for 2014.